Hi everyone, I'm Rachel and this is Musical Artists, A Conversation. On today's episode, we have Nicole Nicolalde joining us. Nicole Nicolalde is a 9-piece Latin band that formed in the fall of 2023, consisting of current students and alumni from Columbia College Chicago. Today, we'll be talking about their experience with Columbia's Battle of the Bands, Biggest Mouth, and how their individual experience with music and their culture brought them together. Should we just go do the introductions?
Everyone.
Okay, Paris, if you want to start.
All right, I'm starting. All right. Hi, it's my birthday today. Hi, I'm Paris Couture. I am the bateria for Nicole Nicolalde's band.
Wow.
Hello, my name is Nicole Nicolalde, and I'm the lead singer.
Hi, my name is Miles Pertel, and I play piano and keyboard in the band.
My name's Cameron Henry, and I'm the conguero for Nicole.
I am Jackson Arbogast, and I am the guitarist as well as an arranger for the group.
Hi, I'm Mark Angelosi. I'm the saxophone player in the band.
Hi, I'm Isa. I'm from Santiago de Chile, and I am backing vocals for Nicole.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm from Monterrey, Mexico, and I am also a backing vocalist.
My first question was kind of directed towards Nicole. I just wanted to ask you if you could walk us through what your journey with music has been like and how you got to creating this band, especially since it is such a large group. I guess what inspired you and influenced you to do this and share this with so many people.
Yeah, I mean, I've been singing for the entirety of my life. I started doing vocal lessons since I was 9, and I very much focused more on like musical theater. It wasn't until like the second year of college, one of my professors, Tiffany Collar, she was like, "Do you want to be in Latin ensemble?" And I was like, "Sure." And I didn't really know much of it. I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I walked in, and I had just started singing in Spanish, but for a long time I was very scared. I don't know. I kind of rejected singing in Spanish, even though Spanish was my first language, which is kind of silly. But yeah, then I started meeting people and just really loving the genre. I think it's a wonderful way of expressing emotion and storytelling, and that's what I really love about music and art. And yeah, and then along the way of like the ensemble kept growing, and then I met people like Jackson. I met my third year. He played the guitar. Then Miles came along, and then Miles is friends with Paris, and I was like, hey. And then Sammy and Isa, like all through Latin ensemble, and Cameron. And then Mark, we met through some jazz combos. Hey, Mark! And Fernando was also in Latin ensemble. So yeah, it was just, I really love the genre, and I felt like we brought something special to the table. I love how diverse the group is. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how was, since I believe everyone goes to or went to, because you just recently graduated, right? Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Goes to Columbia? Or went to Columbia, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And how was going to an art school beneficial, or how it presented some challenges to forming this group and also expressing your culture through your music?
Gets into the first year.
Yeah, so, well, it's a little bit different for me. I'm doing my master's at Columbia. So I did my undergrad somewhere else. Shout out to Indiana University, Bloomington. Go Hoosiers. But an art school is definitely beneficial for being around people that enjoy art and make art. And I think it's really easy to find people that you can connect with. Like, I mean, I've been here 1 year, and I just, through Sam kind of, made my way into the Latin ensemble, even though I'm not a music student. But, I play a lot of music, and I did my undergrad. And I just kind of showed up to a rehearsal one day, and they were like, "Oh, you can play?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Okay, here you go. Sit down. Can you read music?" And I was like, "Uh-huh." And they're like, here's your music. Play." And I was like, "Okay, great." And I think it's kind of just that art school mentality where it's like everyone has art some way. So if you meet someone, you don't really have to vet them. You can just be like, all right, let's just play together because I know you're good enough since you're here. So you just kind of show up with people and you meet a bunch of cool musicians and you all just start jamming out, and next thing you know, you have a band. So I think it's helpful being in a school like Columbia to just meet people that are very talented and work together.
Yeah. There's a lot of different opportunities and like organizations to meet people at Columbia. And I also wanted to ask, because I believe you grew up in Chicago, right? But not, how many other people in the group have grown? No one else?
None of us.
Mark is from
Yeah,
the
The suburbs.
He's-
Okay,
yeah,
a little
he's-
different.
He's
from the
the closest
suburbs.
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Isa, she's in Chile. Sammy, she's in Mexico.
Okay. Because I was just wondering, like, and I don't know who wants to answer this, since a lot of you guys aren't from Chicago, but what has, versus from where you came from and like coming to Chicago, how has that changed your relationship with music and being in a large group like this versus your experience just doing music on your own?
So I'm from Mexico. I'm in Mexico right now. For me, when I got to Chicago, I mean, I kind of had like a similar experience to Nicole, where like I'm literally like Spanish is my first language, but I would never sing in Spanish until I got to Chicago. It was when I started getting into Latin music because I got like that homesickness, I guess. Um, like just being so far away from home, like it made me want to listen to that music, and that's when I started performing it. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that's probably what like everyone feels with performing. And I'm sure you guys all have different backgrounds when it comes to performance. Like you said, you did musical theater and everything. And so this is definitely like a really large band. I know all the other bands who were in Biggest Mouth and everything. I don't think any had the same number as you guys. So what's the difference? What whoever wants to answer this, what's the difference between the other projects that you guys have going on versus performing in this group with all of these different diverse people?
Yeah, so I come from a predominantly like jazz background, and coming from that background, specifically from my parents, was like a huge shift when I was first introduced to the band with Nicole, because she just asked me at a party, and she was like, "Hey, like you're a great drummer. Do you wanna be part of my band?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" But it was just like that, and you know, I didn't know anything about I didn't know that much about salsa music, or like, you know, I knew some basic grooves and some patterns that could get me by, but in terms of learning the actual style and learning the nuances throughout the style has been a fun journey throughout this past year so far. And Cameron has helped me a lot with that, and a bunch of other friends that have been helping me along the way, and just been studying the music and listening to it a lot has been a huge factor in that. And it just makes you a more rounded drummer, or just a musician in general, to learn these different styles. So it's been super fun, and it's opened my ears a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to like just communicating and also just like rehearsing and being around together, how do you guys think that has influenced not only your music career but also just your guys' personalities, you guys as students, just everything?
So you're talking like are the rehearsals we do, how that has
Yeah, like
impacted it?
I also just like I wonder how you guys communicate when it is like such a large group, and like you said, you have a different background. You picked up a lot from this. So how
I
does that
think
influence?
I think so many of us going through the Latin ensemble at Columbia really helped, even for those like me who came into it not knowing anything about the style aside from like maybe listening to a teeny bit of it. Like I had to like learn how to like work through the structure of these types of songs and to like fit the style most. And I think everyone who has been like sort of through the ensemble has kind of picked up those same skills. And just the more that we were playing, just the more, you know, like the more a band plays, the more they gel together, which is why I think it was really good that we like did that a lot before we did a lot of our main performances. Like I think that's kind of the best way to do it, honestly.
I feel like also like for singers, there's also like a separate part when we were like in Latin ensemble. For example, when I came into the Latin ensemble, there was a moment where Nicole, Sammy, and the other two girls that were at the time in Latin ensemble, we were like, we should do choreography. So there were periods during the week that were like, okay, let's hang out and let's do some choreography. So like we can like make Latin Ensemble a show. So I feel like also part of Nicole's performance is also like that kind of like inspiration, like thanks to that bring also like to bring these kind of shows into Nicole's band, you know, have fun and make everything more exciting.
I had a question about that because I wanted to know like how incorporating dance and like fashion, makeup, everything about that on stage, because you guys have a great like stage presence. How you guys come up with that, coordinate everything.
Cameron, you know. Well, for me, I always tell the band, I'm like, even if there's 2 people out there, like, we gotta perform like we're in Madison Square Garden, man. Like, I don't know, like, choreography is just fun, and also like the way that I view music, I connect a lot of my movements to what's going on instrumentally. That's why it's really fun, for example, when like Cameron and Paris do like a percussion break. To me it's very clear. I'm like, oh, I can easily do this and then connect it, and it's just a different way to connect with the audience as well. And yeah, like even like before the band, like I would just always express a lot and move a lot. So, and a lot of people, like instructors, be like, stop moving so much, you're in a choir. But I'm like, the song's so good. And boo. But I've just always been so expressive, and I wanted to also share that with the band, but also more specifically with Issa and Sammy. And shout out to them for always being up for anything and wanting to do the choreography and setting time apart. We would go to the Columbia's gym, and we would go in like the mirror, and that's where we would do our choreography. Like our biggest mouth choreography for Aquella Noche, we did it in like an hour. Like, because we were like,
so many silly videos where we like even like just being silly and playing around too. It's part of like the process.
Yeah, and even like tying it back to like rehearsal, like I really like to make it so, like, for example, we're standing, we're not really sitting. When we're in rehearsal, we're performing it like how we're words. We're rehearsing it like if we were performing in front of people, and I feel like that's what helps when we're on stage, and that's why people say that we look so natural and confident on stage, is because we rehearse it like that. So it's not the first time you're on stage you're like, oh, what am I, like every move that I do, it's kind of like I practice, like I have a toolbox and then I grab from that toolbox, and I feel like everybody has that version. And yeah.
I mean, if I could dance during the performance, I would. If I wasn't a drummer.
I tried to move. Yeah. I hit the little sway.
Mark be doing the dance moves. There volveré. Heck yeah. Yes, that's next. Horn choreography. Yeah.
And like you mentioned, Biggest Mouth, I think that was what I was trying to get to before. Of you guys formed in the fall of 2023. How was auditioning for Biggest Mouth 2024? And I guess that whole experience of like, how'd you guys decide that you wanted to do that, and how was the whole process of going through auditions and getting in, and going to the Epiphany Center, everything like that?
I mean, that was all on you, really.
Yeah, it was like,
yeah.
That was mostly
Take the stage. Okay. Well, I already had a vision of doing Biggest Mouth. That was like one of my goals for my last year at Columbia. So that's kind of why I also, Sammy and I worked on the song with that in mind. But also I wanted to start my band. And yeah, we did 2 shows, Noche Buena, and we opened for another artist, Trevor Dean Stewart, at Epiphany. So for us to get more comfortable and performing and knowing how it is and the dynamic of the group. And then Biggest Mouth time came, and then I texted everybody. I was like, are you free on this specific date at this specific hour? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, cool. Yeah, I even had to tell my Latin ensemble instructor, because Biggest Mouth is always on a Thursday when we have ensemble. And I was like, Don, so like technically, like hypothetically, like if I like took like half of the ensemble, would that be okay? He's like, oh sure, okay. And then Biggest Mouth came around and we went, and I was very nervous. I didn't know what to expect for that audition. I think we were all nervous. And oh well, Cameron wasn't that. He knew he's that girl. And yeah, then we did it. It was awesome. We brought in the energy, and then they asked us questions. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. What's your hobbies? Oh, just this. Bowling. Paris says that he likes trains.
I like trains.
Yeah. And then when it came to the performance part of it, the show, I was a little nervous because I found out that we went first, and I was like, oh gosh, oh no. I was like, is anybody gonna be there? And then to our surprise, there's a lot of people, and that was like, wow. Yeah, it was just all very good, and we rehearsed, and we just felt very confident about it. We made sure we did some time cuts to songs, so like any salsa song is like 5 hours long. So we're like, how do we cut this down, guys? Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really interesting to hear it from the other side, since we've been from just like watching you guys throughout the whole process.
We also do Biggest Mouth auditions.
Yeah,
We
but
didn't go to your
neither of us were at, but everyone was talking about, they were like, oh my god, this band, there was like 10 people on stage, it was amazing. Yeah.
They liked you guys.
Yeah, everyone really liked you guys. But how does it feel, I guess, being able to round up like everyone when you need them, and also not when you need them, but to know that like you have these people, the support group behind you, like whoever wants to answer this, and also knowing that you guys can push us out to really different audiences and like spread your culture and spread just like what you've grown up with, because I can imagine seeing that amount of people that time at Biggest Mouth and also at your other performances, that probably evoke some sort of emotion. So I was just wondering what you guys thought about that.
I feel like Latin music makes, first, everyone wants to be dancing, and it's a very fun genre. Everyone immediately gets connected to it. It's a whole different world, I guess, Latin music, and having the opportunity to show that to the American society, I guess. It's just for us like a great honor, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I feel like Latin music is just like very joyful for everyone.
Yeah, I agree, and especially since, I mean, in Chicago there's a bunch of different demographics, and even just in Columbia too. So I can imagine it must feel cool to be able to show people your specific part of your life to all these people. And also I just wanted to ask, like, what do you guys have coming up, if you guys have any other ideas in mind similar to Biggest Mouth, or if you guys just, I mean, I know there's graduates in here, so if you're just trying to figure it out right now.
Shit, they're both going to Ecuador, Miles and Nicole,
Okay.
so maybe we'll try and get some gigs out of state. That'd be crazy.
Bueno, from Chile or in Mexico.
Chile, Mexico.
That'd be fun.
I mean, well, connecting with like Biggest Mouth because of our prizes, so we were setting up a time maybe in the first week of August to start recording Aquella Noche, and then Isa and Sammy would send me their background vocals just so that they could also be part of it, and then hopefully by the end of August or maybe September have the music video ready, so then we can start releasing it, and then hopefully we have some gigs lined up. Somebody's helping with that, so exciting stuff coming along.
Definitely. I don't know if anyone else wants to add on to like that last question of individual projects that like people have, or how they think that might impact like their music career going forward, working with this group, just like general thoughts on. what the upcoming year will look like.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of big into improvised music and jazz music and stuff like that. So this band is a lot different because the form is completely set exactly, but there's still space to be creative within that. I mean, mostly because the dancing is set, the choreography and stuff, but there's also like open sections like that. So it's cool to come into a band that like you're trying to have a super big produced sound and feel that your specific spot versus like I play in a lot of combos, so like 4 or 5 people, and I have more freedom to do different things. But it's just different way to think about it and different way to show your creativity in the song in each genre. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I come from kind of a more similar background to Miles too, as well, with improvised music, and it's been pretty rewarding learning this other style, and I've just been really trying to figure it out more, especially with just my own playing and improving upon that. But yeah, it's been really fun, and I'm excited to do more and like maybe help come up with new stuff and anything with like horn arranging that I've been trying to work on as well. So
Yeah, what is, I guess, the brainstorming process like when it comes to the whole group and everyone's different skills coming together?
Well, for the original song, it was mostly like Sammy and I, and then also shout out to Don, my professor. He was the one, because Sammy and I, the song was done. The song was done a while ago, like before school even started. But we were both like, man, this is missing something. And then we would bring it to like, I'd bring it to like Miles, I'd bring it to like different people, and we're like, I didn't know how to work with people that were like, what do you think? Like, what do you hear that's something missing? And everybody would be like, it's done though. But I'm like, but there's something. It's not done. And then I asked Dawn, and I was like, can you please salsify this salsa song? Because it's not sounding like salsa right now. It's not salsy enough. And then he was the one that arranged it and made it the song that it is. But with like in terms of like even when we do covers, I feel like we do a good job of doing like our little twist to it, like Volveré, like especially like the guitar intro, because like in the original it's like I think it's like a synth. I don't even know what sound it is, but it sounds really old-timey because the song's really old-timey. But like, for example, like adding elements of like for the audience to interact. So before we start Volveré, or honestly any merengue, we're like, okay, so this is merengue, and literally all you gotta do is do a, así, and then that's when Mark starts showing the audience how to dance merengue. Or like or in our manifest performance, like we added like this cool intro to Puro Veneno by Nati Peluso, so that these two could get a little spotlight on them. And yeah,
I think one of the benefits of having such a large band is you have a lot of very talented people to come up with ideas. And so we'll just be in rehearsal, and that's really our brainstorming time. That's when we're all together, so we get everything done then. Where we're playing a tune, and then we'll stop, and then we'll just be like, well, what if we add something here? Or like, how are we doing on time? Oh, we need another minute. Okay, let's throw in a drum solo. Or what if we just looped this section again and added another choro? Or we just all kind of work together as a group to be like, yeah, and we all have our own unique perspectives of like what we all like we all like salsa music obviously, but we have our own backgrounds like jazz or metal music or anything like right, and that kind of seeps into our ideas like subconsciously, and because we all have those different perspectives, it makes our sound that much more unique and more authentic because we're creating it together, and it helps us kind of bond with the music and not just with each other, because the music becomes something that we created too, even when we're just doing covers. And I think that helps a lot with the process.
Yeah. That was really beautiful.
Sorry.
Do you guys think it takes some like brain power to make sure everyone's voice and skills are getting seen and shown like equally, or do you think it's a natural thing that's come with your guys' experience as individuals?
I think there's an aspect of it that comes naturally when you have a group of musicians where some people have amps, some people don't have amps, some people have microphones, some people aren't mic'd, and that creates sort of a hierarchy of sound already. Mm-hmm. And certain things are going to pop out more than others. Yeah, the pyramid. So like, you're always going to hear Jackson on guitar because that timbre of guitar is very unique and it cuts through the band. And when you have a trombone player, that's always going to get heard because that's that loud brass sound. And so some of it is just when you're arranging, things are going to come out naturally. But some of it we definitely have to work for, where we'll be playing a tune and Nicole's like, "Hey, you need to play quieter on this part. You guys need to come down because this is Nicole's spot." And then we're like, "Okay." So it's a little bit of both. I think when we're rehearsing, we all understand how different instruments function and what's going to be louder than others. Like if we need to have a solo that's we need to hear the bass. Well, we're going to have to drop out a lot of instruments because that's not going to make it through unless we spotlight it a little bit. And so I think it's a combination of two to do that.
I think you guys may have already touched on this in your answers, but how do you think that those unique skills and assets that you're gaining from this specific group have carried out to the other projects that you guys have, or even when you practice music on your own? What methods are you guys continuing from what you've learned here?
I feel like for me, especially being a jazz drummer, a lot of the nuances of jazz come with the interplay between musicians, especially during like soloists, and that usually one instrumentalist playing, or it could be a vocalist as well, building upon their solo and backing them up. While in salsa especially, it's just keeping the pocket and making sure that you are actively knowing what section you're in and noting where each section changes has been, like, I guess you could say, difficult for me because I'm also about improvisational music, and that's like how I grew up playing, so I've just been chopping out ever since I was a kid. But it's been really rewarding being able to stay more, I guess I wouldn't say simplistic, but knowing how to keep your pocket without having your mind go crazy and letting your hands run wild. And that has also translated to my jazz playing, I feel like, as well. Just listening more to the people around you and hearing the music rather than just hearing yourself.
Yeah. Awesome.
Could I chime in? Can I sort of bookend this answer a little bit? So this was slightly established earlier, but yeah, like a lot of these guys, I also have a jazz background with guitar, but I also, like, as a young guitarist, the first thing I was doing was, like rock music and stuff like that. And I feel like what people like Paris were saying about the free improv of jazz and stuff, and how some of that can slightly spill over to Latin music. I almost saw, because when I came into it, of course, I had to learn a lot, but it made me kind of realize that it sort of bridged a gap between those two backgrounds I had of a more pre-composed, like pop rock sort of thing, and this more interactive sort of experience on stage. And I think realizing that, and plus just also the rhythmic excitement of it, those were probably the two biggest takeaways that I had honestly.
Yeah.
I thought of that while you were saying that. I just wanted to make sure that was heard.
Great answer. I was just gonna ask you already kind of outlined some upcoming plans, but any shout outs that anyone has specifically for this group, or anything you guys wanted to highlight that's coming up soon? And if there's nothing, that's okay. Any party thoughts, really?
It's Paris Couture's 21st.
It's his birthday!
That's so. Yes, the date.
That's the song but like
I hate you, Nicole.
Okay, well, also, where can we find you guys on any social media for the band, I guess, or?
Nicole Nicolalde. I still have to rearrange how my. Oh, right. It's Nicole Nicolalde. I still have to rearrange my Instagram so it can look polished and all the good things. But yeah, there.
Okay, awesome. That's all for this episode. Thank you, Nicole Nicolalde, for being on the Limelight podcast. You guys already said where we could find you. You said all your upcoming things. So be on the lookout for that, everybody listening. Lots of exciting things coming up. And thank you all for tuning in. I can't wait to see everyone for the next one.